Real estate is about freedom, choice freedom, time freedom, and money freedom, and the impact you can make with that freedom. But it doesn't come without cost. Your freedom takes work. That's why Neil Timmins brings together the tools you need to build your real estate legacy, from tips and tricks to interviews with industry titans. It's all here in one place. Real Grit. Let's get to it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Real Grit. I'm Neil Timmins. I'm here with the one and only Mr. Joe Dillon. Joe is a very good friend of mine. He runs a very high-level mastermind for elite players in this industry. Some of the top who all of us know. And that is, of course, on the heels of Joe being one of the very best in this industry, running one of the top businesses and being a forefront, a pioneer at a lot of the ways in which a lot of us have put things in place in our own business. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. Joe, how you doing, man?
Hey, what an intro, man. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm terrific. Thanks. It's good to see you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to connect up here.
Anything for Neil Timmins?
Listen to you. Well, hey, listen, I gave everybody touched on what you do today a little bit, but let's start here at the beginning and then let's bring it forward. How did you even get into real estate and when was that? Yeah,
man. So, wow. 2014, which seems like a lifetime ago.
I love how you say, wow. What are you, like 30 years old? You're going to.
That's what I'm saying, man. It literally felt like 3 times the length that it actually was. It's kind of crazy.
That was a third of my life ago.
Yeah. So 2014,
all right,
a third of my life ago.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. God damn it. So 2014, got started in the business. So I had what happened with me was I was introduced to the business from a partner. And the way that I met that partner, I like to go back to this story because I'm a big law of attraction believer. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is exactly how things started to flow. When I started to, read certain books, and I really started to get into this, dive deeper into, what you perceive, what you place your intentions on, will actually attract into your life more of what you place your attention on, intention and attention on. And I started to become obsessed with it. And so I like to say I literally manifested these things into my life, right? I was working a job at the time, probably 2013, I was working a job. And I was working from home a lot. So I had some time. I manifested into my life a partner who taught me how to flip cars. Okay, so I started flipping cars.
Okay,
I did that for about a year or so, and then I met my partner, who would be my partner for wholesaling houses. All right, so that was Raphael. I met him, and so the first guy's name was Joseph, right? I learned a lot through that partnership, and then I ended up meeting my partner, which was Raphael. I met him a year after that, right? So we had kept in contact, and again, through an intention and attention, I started to attract these things that happening to myself. So all that being said, we started, wholesaling houses together in 2014. We linked up, and the rest was history. He already kind of had a small operation going, and I brought a completely different skill set. We're both visionaries, but I brought a systematic mindset to the business, and because of that, the drive and the systems, we were able to blow it up. We did 7 figures into that. Our first full year, we did 7 figures because of just ruthless hustle and strategic processes put into place. So that's kind of how I got started. And it was like Life University. It was like wholesaling university for the next 4 years after that. And, we blew up into multiple markets, but, that's basically how we got started.
Yeah. You blew up into multiple markets and then ultimately doing multiple millions of dollars in revenue.
Correct. Yeah. And, it wasn't an easy journey, right? A lot of trial and error, but a ton of hustle, and just learning. There was a lot of things that we wanted to we were a big fan of mentors, always been a big fan of mentors. And so we're like, who can we learn this from? Like specifically, we were constantly thinking about how can we shortcut our way? Who can we learn from? But there were a ton of things that we had to actually pioneer ourselves. And so things that weren't available at the time, how to effectively cold call, right? Because cold calling wasn't even popular when we started.
Correct.
In fact, I've heard some people say this, but we popularized in many ways. We popularized cold calling on a massive scale to your homeowner lists. Previously, nobody was doing that. So
nobody was doing it. No one had even heard of Zen Call until you guys came on the scene and had used that as a platform.
Yeah. And so essentially, so we hit 7 figures in DC. We started in DC, came down to Tampa a few years later. We moved down here, better cost of living, better quality of life, and our people were here too. And then we also started investing in Tampa before then. And our Tampa numbers were destroying our DC numbers. And it was great. So all the things lined up. We landed up here in Tampa. And the rest is history. We started doing business in multiple markets and, had a big team, department heads, right? So, me and him kind of split up different operational roles.
Sure.
And then just snowballed and continued to grow from there.
What was your biggest challenge along the way? Singular challenge along the journey? Maybe it was inside the business, maybe it was personal, but working through that to get to that point in your life.
Man, it's hard to pinpoint one, but I will say there was a point where we were going month after month with no deals, right? This was towards the beginning, definitely towards the beginning of the business. But that was tough to get through because we were pounding the phones, right? And this was, by the way, mind you, this is before all of the mass cold calling was a big thing. So we were literally Excel sheets dialing from our cell phones, from these phone numbers. We were just boom, boom, boom. Then we finally found what we were using at the time was called Callfire. And we were just pounding calls, call after call after call. For whatever reason, we couldn't land it. So I would say that was a particularly tough time because we were working full time, right? No backup, zero backup, right?
Yep.
I think maybe it was a span of 4 months that went by. When I was like, shoot, what the hell is happening? And it took a lot of faith-driven action, right? But that faith was probably one of the biggest challenges to continue to have faith in a vision that's bigger than you, right? And so I would say when times are not looking good, and it wasn't just those times, right? That next year we made $1 million, and we called it our mistake year, but we didn't make any money. We made $1 million to the top line, and we didn't make any money, profit. And when I say we didn't lose money, but we made maybe 100,000 profit, which is nothing, 10%, right? So a lot of times you might feel like you're spinning your wheels,
right?
And that's not a good feeling either. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges is how to stay motivated and keep going forward regardless of what's happening outside of you.
What was inside of you that didn't allow you to quit, that had you continue to go?
Vision and faith. Man, I used to drive back from the office, and there was just a knowingness. It was strange, but maybe it was all the law of attraction work that I have been doing in the past 2 years. But there was like a knowingness within my being, like that I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
Not even so much faith, certainty.
Oh yeah. And so, well, you can call it, I mean, at the base of that though, is you still faith, because there's going to be a downtimes you're going to start to question your certainty. You're like, hold on, is this really going to happen? And then it's that undying faith that I think is the basis for what we did. Because there was no backing down for us. Like there was no questions. We were going to do it no matter what it took. Yeah. And there was this and that's a lot of what I learned from my partner, from Raphael. He was really like, that's one of his strong suits, right? We both had our very strong strengths, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So one of the things that I learned from him was that, just like this undying, faith that things were going to happen, that the vision was going to be carried out. And, we added to each other's, portions of that, but it was an amazing thing to feel. And even though it may not have shown it in some times, right? Entrepreneur's journey is always up and down.
That's
right. That undying faith, I just knew it. Like I knew it within me that it was going to happen, and it did.
And that ride up to success, tell me what's the biggest change during that journey, all the way from where you were, I mean, flipping cars, to get into this business, to multiple millions of dollars a year, being gross revenue and significant net profit. What was the biggest personal change you made in your life that had the largest impact in your business life?
Oof, what a question. That's a fantastic question. Let's see. Let me think back to those moments. I always like to get some time to reflect, right? Honestly, I would say the routine and the habits,
mm-hmm.
And it might not have been, sometimes it wasn't even fun, but we had a vision and we were committed to the vision. Because we were committed, we were disciplined and we took action, and we worked the hours. We worked the hours we needed to work.
Yep.
Especially when there were things to still be figured out. There was things to still be pioneered, right? It's a little bit different than how things are now, because, mentorship and, YouTube, like everything is everywhere, right? So it's really easy to find stuff out now. But at that time, there were still some pieces we just needed to put in the hours and figure things out. So yeah, I would say because we had a disciplined routine and, we had a massive amount of focus, it allowed us to do incredible things. So we would wake up, we would hit the gym, we would, after the gym, we did more routine, whether it was praying or meditation. We got ourselves right. Boom, we hit the office, right? And sometimes it was reverse. I think we played around with different routines, as anybody that's listening to this should do. Sometimes it might work better for you as a person to do it, at night. Like let's say if you're going to the gym, just play around with it and see what works best. So I think having a routine, just solidified that. It almost like harnessed the energy for us. And then like we were able to take effective, focused action. So a routine, as well as, it's funny because I look back at this and I'm like, I don't know if this is the best thing overall, but we had an obsession, right? It was like we had an obsession to grow this business. We had an obsession. So we would listen to podcasts, we would, read certain books, and not just business, just personal development in general. I'm a huge personal development advocate. I've always loved growth. And so, when you're kind of getting this from all angles, you're kind of obsessed with this business or with a business or obsessed with an idea.
Grant Cardone says it right. Be obsessed or be average.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's healthy to a certain point.
Yep.
To get you to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
We won't go into that right now, but I think the routine created disciplined action. I think that really allowed for us to skyrocket because we were so consistent, like every day, every day. And we just wouldn't back down to the point where it had to work because we weren't going to let it not work.
Yeah. Well, let's go down the other path of this. What's the biggest change you made in your business that had the largest impact in your personal life?
Okay. So I'm going to talk about current situations now, right?
Yeah.
Because since then, we had a difference of opinions and personalities and all that good stuff. So we ended up splitting ways. I'm obviously very grateful for what we had built together, but I sold my ownership of my wholesaling business to him. So since then, I have been helping people elevate.
Yeah, it allowed you to focus on what your passion.
Yeah, my passion was really working with entrepreneurs, helping them elevate, helping them create structure to their operation, right? So that they can skyrocket and scale like we did.
Yep.
And so since then, I've been coaching and I've been doing my mastermind. And so I think the biggest thing in my business that's made the biggest change in my personal life has been, it's almost the opposite now, right? As you get older, like your priorities change, your mindset, your perspective changes.
Correct.
To where money's not everything for me anymore, right? And I'm blessed to say that. I think you have to get to a certain point to where like you realize, okay, I'm good. And it's not really a massive driver for me anymore. For me, it's almost the opposite now. Now that I'm, at the level that I'm at, what's important to me is time. So it's also like a mindset shift in business, but valuing my time so high has allowed me to create an amazing personal life, right? And not only does it improve my personal life, it improves my business. So, for example, like my rate, right? I don't really do one-off, but my rate is $1,200 an hour, okay, for coaching. I don't really do those. I kind of equate that to my coaching programs, right? But those start at like 20K, right? Yep. And so, and you get what you pay for always. Yep. And so, even with those price points, I've still been able to really manage my time very well. So learning how to duplicate myself, actually, that's probably a better way to put it. Learning how to duplicate myself has probably been the biggest impact on my personal life. Mm. So I duplicate myself through people and systems. Yeah, and that's all undoubtedly giving me the most time back. Yep. Right. So it's two things really. It's on an intangible perspective. It's having that high standard for your time. Yeah. And understanding like our time is limited here. Correct. And so my time is valuable, right? And then on the tangible level, it's learning how to duplicate myself so that I have more time. Yeah, that's made the biggest impact on my personal life.
Say, tell me, for those in the business who do this day in and day out, and when you were in there, what would you say you wish you knew when you started, or what would you have done differently if you had to start over again?
For those that are kind of getting into the business?
Yeah, right.
Okay. I would have paid a mentor as soon as possible.
Get somebody.
Get help. Like have a pathway that you're following, right? And that's why my clients love it so much, because there's a clear pathway. Like, okay, here's what to do, right? And here's ideally where you're going to be, where your business is going to be in 6 months. And so that's so helpful, and it's so valuable to have that when you're starting. But if you don't, I mean, it can be like you just feel all over the place. You don't have a consistent plan, a consistent roadmap for where you're going. If you can't afford a mentor, honestly, I think, so what I always tell for people that are getting into this business, the biggest thing that you really need to understand and overcome is yourself. It's the mentality, your mentality and mindset towards, what you're coming in to do every day. It's going to be the biggest determining factor of, who's successful and who's not. If I were to spend time with like 10 newbies, for example, I could easily tell you who's going to be successful and who's not. And what does it boil down to? It boils down to the person, right? And so
the person, if they've got a deeply instilled, just like you from the beginning, deeply instilled faith, and I would put a lot of weight on being obsessed, especially early on. You have to, there's so much to learn. One's ability to consume everything.
Sure, exactly. Yeah.
With passion, with love.
Yeah. And there's definitely an effective way to do it, and there's an ineffective way to do it, right? I just want to pause here for a second and say, I coach some of these guys. There are tons of people that they're tying their happiness to their goals. So they're not happy building their business.
No.
Right. And maybe they get to their goal faster, but what's the point if during this whole time you're unhappy?
Well, you and I both been around long enough. What happens when you hit that goal and your happiness is tied to the goal?
You're happy for maybe 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then your brain automatically, because it's used to firing and wiring this way, this is all a mental game.
Yes.
Is automatically onto the next goal. All right.
Correct.
That was cool.
Yep.
Some people don't even celebrate. Some people don't even let themselves enjoy it. Some people don't even.
Yep.
Wow, look what I've done.
Right.
Some people don't even do that.
Right.
And then there's the other person that maybe they don't even hit the goal that this person hit, but they're just having a ball along the way. Okay, some deals fell through. That's cool. I understand it's part of the process. Okay, it's one of my employees just quit. Okay, that's part of the process. Embracing that part of the journey and every part of the journey. And that is a much more effective way, right? There's no right or wrong. That's just a much more effective way of being happy,
right? Being
an entrepreneur. Otherwise, you're just gonna be miserable, and you're gonna have, hopefully, maybe you'll have a lot of money.
Correct. But this game, if you treat this as a game, the intent is to have fun. Obviously, dollars and cents are part of this long way. The game only ends when you go out of this world. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I didn't want to get too off topic there. So, shoot, what were we talking about right before this?
Yeah. What would you do if you had to start over again?
Correct. Yeah. So, tangibly, I would, so kind of like an intangible responses, in general perspective responses, hire a mentor if you can. If not, learn everything that you can about what you can. And don't go trying to do 10 different things. Just focus on one and go hard on that one or two things, and until you become successful. Okay. And, rinse and repeat. Another thing, I see this all the time. Okay. So I coach people that are typically doing anywhere from, a deal to 3 deals a month, right? Maybe 10 to 30 deals over the year. And maybe they're making anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. I coach those people when they start with me. Okay.
Yep.
And usually, almost always, like, there is so much structure that they can put to their business that's going to allow them to elevate to $1 million, $2 million plus. So, and that's already happened with a lot of my clients, which is amazing. So the reason I say that is there are those people that are in that category, that they've kind of already done the grunt work, right? They've kind of already hustled, and they've already closed deals in their lifetime. They have a business. They just need structure. If you're not there yet, maybe you'll only close a few deals. Maybe by some of them were lucky. Maybe you haven't closed a deal yet, right? Like, you just need to be hitting the freaking phones as much as possible. It's so simple. It's the people that do the most action in the beginning. This is just for the beginning stages.
Yep.
Okay. In the beginning stages, the majority of your actions should be direct revenue generating activities. Okay. Again, don't try to do too many things at once. So, if you really don't have any money, go driving for dollars, all the time, and just have a phone in your hand and just be dialing, right? Or have somebody put it together for you, and then skip trace them and start calling. Just make as many calls as you freaking can. That's what I would do if I were in the beginning stages. It's just grit, again, and hire a mentor if you can. If you can't, YouTube University has a ton of free stuff, which is cool. But only, go hard on one or two things, like, let's say, marketing channels, and just be consistent. Like, that's the biggest thing. And you will, it's like fact. It's like law. If you are consistent with your actions and you're continuously doing them day after day, you're going to be in a much higher probability place to be successful than the person next to you who's not, right? At the beginning, working hard is important, okay? I don't believe in grind all your life. In fact, I'm like the anti-grind. I believe in working smart, but at the beginning, it's necessary. There's a lot of momentum, just like a rocket ship that's coming out of, that's going to the moon, right? A lot of momentum required to get out of the atmosphere.
That's right.
But once you're there, you're not coasting, but there's a lot less energy required to keep it going than to start it going. So, yeah, that's kind of what I would say.
For the audience's sake, tell everybody about coaching and the mastermind. So what it is that you do today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, So again, that impacted my life so much. I felt like I went through business, like life university, and I felt like I got 5 MBAs running that business, because we eventually had departments, all types of process maps. And we were really structuring and creating this business like a real corporation. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
So it impacted my life so much that I wanted to share this knowledge and help other people elevate, right? And so, now I do coaching. So I help people that are specifically in that range that I told you about. And I also have a program. We just launched it relatively recently. We have a program for, if you're trying to get your first deal, or if you've already gotten a few deals and you really want to, learn the secret sauce to make it as efficient as possible. So it's like, I have a program for closing deals efficiently. And then once you're closing deals, right, I have a program for how to systemize that, right? So eventually you can just get deal flow that's happening without you. Systems, processes, and a team. So it has been an honor. This journey has just been truly an honor. And I only work with, a few people. I don't work with tons and tons of people, but I work with people that are ready to stroke that check, that are at that level, right? So, you can reach out if that's of interest to you. We have been just changing people's lives and just helping them with strategy, okay, at first, and then there's also systems and structure to that. And then I give every single one of my clients, I usually give them an action plan, right, so that they are very laser focused on specific things. Because I've seen so many people scale improperly. They scale it on a shaky foundation. They try to hire too many people at once. Every single time, it always comes crumbling if they scale improperly and they scale too quickly. And so that's why having somebody like me in our company in your corner could do wonders for you making more money.
For those who want to learn more and want to reach out, what's the best way for them to connect?
Yeah, so you could just reach out via Facebook or email. So my Facebook, you can just find me, Joe Dillon. If you're in real estate, we probably have some mutual friends.
True.
And if not, you can also email me, Joe at elevatecoachinggroup.com. ELEVATE coaching group.
elevatecoachinggroup.com. We'll make sure we get those in the show notes. See, I want to move on to our final segment here, what I call for impact. Your favorite quote: "Nothing happens to you, everything happens for you." Why is that important to you?
Oh man, it's something that I have to remind myself every day. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, especially if you're into the law of attraction, you understand intention will attract. Okay. Then it might bring about things that might seem negative. Right? So when that happens, let's say you have a job and you really want to start this business. Let's say you have a little bit of cash laid out aside. And let's say you get laid off. Or let's say you get fired. Your first initial reaction might be fear, panic, right? Sadness. But if you understand that life happens for you, not to you, you can trust the process, right? And it allows you to be more at peace with everything that happens, which I think that's the key to life, man.
Yeah.
You know, if you can develop the willingness and you can develop the inner presence to accept life exactly as it comes, there is an amazing, immense peace and joy that comes from that. Yeah. And so that quote always reminds me of it, because it's so easy, like, to have this ego, us all having an ego. It's so easy for the ego to get trapped in this, oh, this is not happening my way. This is not happening my way, right? Because all suffering is created because of an unfulfilled desire. I wanted it this way. It didn't happen this way. And that's where all suffering comes from. So when you can release that, then you understand that life happens for you, not to you. No one's doing this to you. There's no one to blame, right?
That's right.
There's nothing to complain about. Everything is happening for you. And you can get into that flow, man, life completely opens up for you. It's beautiful. I've seen it, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so,
what do you think holds most investors back from going to their next level?
No, I'll answer this in a couple of ways. I want to say the first thing that popped into my mind, because I work with people every day, right? I have intimate, knowledge and insight into their business, into their processes. And they're trying to do too many things. I've seen a lot of overwhelm. Like, they got to do this process, then there's this department, and then this and that, right? And so I think overwhelm definitely stops a lot of people from, like, okay, I have so many things that I think that I need to do. And in fact, there's only a few things that you really need to do. And it helps so much. This is why I'm such a big fan of mentors. Good mentors, at least. It helps so much to have that third-party perspective, right, that's not emotionally involved. It helps so much to have that third-party perspective, to say, you have no business doing this, this, and this. Just do this one thing. Focus on that. Watch your business flourish, right? And so I think overwhelm and too many things that they think that they need to do. And I'll answer this in another way. What stops them? That's what stops them getting to the next level in business. What I think stops them getting to the next level in their happiness is not being present, not enjoying the journey, and just always thinking like, all right, goal, boom. And just like living in that destination mentality. Yeah. It's not bad to have goals. Goals are fantastic. Correct. I love having goals. Use it as a stamp, place your flag post there, and then live here, which is the present. Right? And so I have so many, this happens all the time. I just got off of a coaching call, actually. where, my client was like, she's not spending enough time with her kids, and, she feels like she has all these things to do and she wants more time back. But yet she's not willing to sacrifice a little bit of income, right, to take a step back and work on herself, even go to the gym, or, go to, or spend more time with her kids, like she was saying. It's those kind of things, those kinds of decisions that you're putting yourself and your needs and the greater good on the back burner.
Yeah.
And so, that's definitely holding people back. I think their mentality is just such a rushed mentality nowadays of, oh, I gotta do what the guy next to me is doing. I gotta do 7 figures, right?
Right.
And reality is, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Bloom where you're planted.
Yeah. So
outside of real estate, what are you most passionate about?
Oh, okay. Well, definitely personal development.
Yeah.
Okay. Spiritual, personal development have kind of intertwined in the past few years.
Yeah.
And, I'm passionate about just self-awareness, because that's a long journey. In fact, I've been going through my own journey this past 2 years, and it hasn't been easy. Like, I've had some health stuff, and I've had some neurological stuff happen because of my health stuff going on, and it hasn't been easy, right? Like, I haven't been able to think as well as I could have, because I have brain fog that happens every now and then.
Yeah.
And so I'm really passionate about real personal development, right? And I have there's a few amazing books out there, but I'll just name a few if you're interested in this topic. Is Untethered Soul is one of them. Okay. A New Earth. Those are fantastic books that have really shaped the way that I look at life. Because especially in an industry like this, what will be pounded, in front of you all the time is, dollars and growth and business and growing your team. And, oftentimes we're not really taking a step back to see, does this actually align with who I am? Does this align with my life? Is this going to be for the greatest good? And then when you start thinking about, I've been really thinking about greatest good lately. Like, that's been a concept of mine. A leader should be thinking about the greatest good. So what's the greatest good? Okay, if I spend all my time working in business tirelessly, effortlessly, what am I doing to my own, personal well-being? What am I doing to the people around me, right? And how is my energy, how is my aura being accepted by other people, or how is it being perceived and received by other people? And when you just start understanding the bigger picture, right? That's why in the past few years, like, we really started to transition from like wanting, I used to want to be, the $100 million guy, like $100 million, $1 billion, we're going to do this, right?
Yep.
And it's not as important to me anymore. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but that's not like the main focus for me anymore.
Right.
I think a lot of people that's their one and only focus, and that can quickly throw you into a life that you don't want.
What's your favorite way to make an impact on the community? However you define community. Doesn't matter if it's however you define it.
Yeah. Honestly, I have a gift for leading groups in person. So my favorite way to impact by far is in person. It's not like sending a check to a charity or, giving somebody something. It's like showing the way in a sense. So sometimes I host things at my house. I've done like group meditations before. Any and all of my retreats and or events that I do, I'll always start with mindfulness. So people can come back to that place of groundedness, that center that's within them,
Right.
you know, that's my favorite way to impact for sure.
No, that's terrific.
Yeah, man.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to connect here. It's a wonderful story and a wonderful journey from literally where all has come from is nothing, right? Learning to flip cars, bringing it through this business, building an absolute powerhouse, taking an exit, and then being able to align yourself with your passion. That gives you, you know, so that what you're doing all day long gives you energy, in which you know, and your ability to make an impact on others. And like I said at the opening of the show, really impact. I mean, I know a lot. I'm not going to mention them here, but I know a lot of the names and who you've impacted in this industry, and they're very serious players in this business. So it's really, you certainly have a gift. And for anybody who has an interest in, you know, really wants to make it in this business, and I would echo what you said, is get a mentor, find that one for you, somebody who's really good, and then sink your teeth into it, go to action and make it happen. Certainly you've made a deep impact in my world, in my business, and I know you can and will and should for others. So I'd encourage anybody to reach out to you and have that conversation and see if you guys line up.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, and you know, Neil was a client, actually. I don't even think we said that.
Nope. Yes.
We said that during this. So, you know, now given you were probably one of the higher level people that already came to me,
Sure.
But still we were able to make an amazing impact.
Yep. No, you're exactly right. Because that's why I echo what you said, because I believe in mentors, even no matter what level one is at. I believe in mentors because we're not, if the journey never ends, we're not always there. I mean, that's silly to say, but the journey never ends. So we're always becoming a better version of ourselves. And mentors can help you do that no matter what level you happen to be at.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to give you the last word. Anything else to part with here, Joe?
Anybody that is still listening or is listening, please just know that there's no rush. Okay. Right. And this is contrary to what everything around you is telling you. Okay. Because I've seen, again, I'm thinking greater good here. I've seen the effects of what that has on people. And it's a lot of unrest. It's a lot of uneasiness. It's a lot of lack of having peace right now for where you are, right? Because again, you just want to hammer this in. When you live in that destination mindset, you will always tie your happiness in the future. And you will not be able to enjoy and live and embrace the present. And so you're exactly where you are. And you're exactly where you need to be, excuse me. And, you know, just remember that things happen for you. Not to you.
Appreciate the time, Joe. Hey, for everybody here at Real Grit, I'm Neil Timmins, reminding you that real estate requires real grit. I'll see you next time. If you like our content and want more, you can access it at realgritpodcast.com. You hear it guest after guest. Instinctively, you already know it. But let me call it out. The most expensive action is inaction. The real estate market is full of opportunities. You just need to uncover them. You can build a business that lasts for years, makes monumental impact in the lives of those that you love. It's not just about business, but about the freedom you get because of it. Have you ever heard the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I believe that partnering is essential. In fact, I partner with hardworking investors all the time. The point is that you can get a lot further with the right partner. Let me say it again, the right partner. If you've ever thought about partnering with anyone, or if you have a partner now, I encourage you to download my free Partner and Profit Guide, which includes the top 5 must-answer questions to evaluate a profitable partnership. You can find it at www.legacyimpactpartners.com. I'll see you in the next episode.